1968, after selling Mao's Red Book to university students in order to buy shotguns. The party makes the book required reading. Meanwhile, the FBI, under J. Edgar Hoover, begins a program called Counterintelligence Pro to break up the spreading unity of revolutionary groups that had begun solidifying throughout the work. An example of the Panthers, the Peace and Freedom Party, Brown Berets, Students for a Democratic Society, the SNCC, the SCLC, Poor People's March, Cesar Chavez and others in the farm labor movement, the American Indian movement, Young Puerto Rican Brothers, the Young Lords, and many others. To destroy the party, the FBI begins with a program of surgical assassinations, killing leading members of the party who they know cannot otherwise be subverted. Following these mass killings would be a series of arrests, followed by a program of psychological warfare designed to split the party both politically and morally through the use of espionage, provocateurs, and chemical warfare. U.S. police terror and repression. On April 6, 1968, in West Oakland, Bobby Hutton, 17 years old, is shot dead by Oakland police. In a 90-minute gun battle, an unarmed Bobby Hutton is shot 10 times dead, after his house is set ablaze and he is forced to run out into a fire of bullets. Just 2 days earlier, Martin Luther King was assassinated after he had begun rethinking his own doctrines of nonviolence and started to build ties with radical unions. 2 months later, on the day of Bobby's death, Robert Kennedy, widely recognized in the minority community as one of the only politicians in the U.S. sympathetic to the civil rights movement, is also assassinated. In January 1969, the first Panthers Free Breakfast for School Children program is initiated at St. Augustine's Church in Oakland. By the end of the year, the Panthers set up kitchens in cities across the nation, feeding over 10,000 children every day before they went to school.
How old are you?
9 years old. 7, 8, 5, 11, 10, 7, 6, 5.
If you didn't come here for breakfast, would you be getting the same kind of good breakfast at home?
No. 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 No.
How do you feel about having breakfast here with the Black Panthers every morning?
Just feel good, like coming down here with my friends. I just come down here because I be eating, but I don't eat enough at home.
I'm just going to say it in one word. It's beautiful.
I like it. That's all I can say. It's just great. It's just great, too.
The United States government has set forth basic requirements for a healthy breakfast. The Black Panther Party, operating without government funds, has established a nationwide free breakfast for children program. It far exceeds the federal nutrition guidelines. This is Jeff Kamen reporting, Revolution for Breakfast. It is 7:45 in the morning in the Watts ghetto of Los Angeles. Without prompting, these little girls have decided to sing a song during breakfast at a Black Panther community center.
What did Malcolm X do? Stand for freedom for everyone. When will we ever learn? When will we ever?
The concept of the breakfast program originated with Huey. He thought that was one of the better ways to educate people in terms of what socialism was, what it was like, and also it served one of the basic needs of the people because that's part of our 10-point program and platform. As to what we think, based on a poll taken in the black community, that people need and desire. So we decided to implement the breakfast programs.
That is Joan Kelly. 20-year-old national coordinator of the Black Panther Party's free breakfast program.
We serve somewhere between 10 and 15,000 children daily on the breakfast programs. I would say 10,000 in all the chapters and branches.
A few months later, J. Edgar Hoover publicly states that the Panthers are the greatest threat to the internal security of the country. In Chicago, the outstanding leader of the Panthers local, Fred Hampton, leads 5 different breakfast programs on the West Side, helps create a free medical center, and initiates a door-to-door program of health services which test for sickle cell anemia and encourages blood drives for the Cook County Hospital. The Chicago Party also begins reaching out to local gangs to clean up their acts, get them away from crime, and bring them into the class war. The party's efforts meet wide success, and Hampton's audiences and organized contingent grows by the day. On December 4th, at 4 a.m. in the morning, thanks to information by an FBI informant, Chicago police raid the Panther Chicago apartment, murdering Fred Hampton while he sleeps in bed. He is shot twice in the head, once in the arm and shoulder, while 3 other people sleeping in the same bed escape unharmed. Mark Clark, sleeping in the living room chair, is also murdered while asleep. Hampton's wife, carrying child for 8 months, is also shot but survives. 4 Panthers sleeping in the apartment are wounded, while 1 other escapes injury. Fred Hampton was 21 years old when he was executed by the state. Mark was 17 years old. According to the findings of the federal grand jury, 90 bullets were fired inside the apartment. 1 came from a Panther, Mark, who slept with a shotgun in his hand. All surviving Panther members were arrested for attempted murder of the police and aggravated assault. Not a single cop spent a moment in jail for the executions.
We always say the Black Panther Party that they can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips, that I am a revolutionary. And you're going to have to keep on saying that. You're going to have to say that I am a proletariat. I am the people. I'm not the pig. You've got to make a distinction. And the people are going to have to attack the pig. The people are going to have to stand up against the pig. That's what the Panthers are doing. That's what the Panthers are doing all over the world.
In the summer of 1969, the alliance between the Panthers and the SNCC begins ripping apart. One of the main points of dispute is the inclusion of whites in the struggle for minority liberation, a dispute which is pushed into an open gunfight at the University of California in Los Angeles against the group US, which leaves 2 Panthers dead. In September, in the government's courthouse, Huey Newton is convicted of voluntary manslaughter and sentenced to 2 to 15 years in prison. By 1970, the conviction is appealed and overturned on procedural errors. On November 24, 1968, Kathleen and Eldridge Cleaver flee the U.S. They visit Cuba, then Paris, and eventually settle in Algeria. Earlier in the year, Cleaver published his famous book, Soul on Ice. By the end of the year, the party has swelled from 400 members to over 5,000 members in 45 chapters and branches, with a newspaper circulation of 100,000 copies. In 1969, Seal is indicted in Chicago for protesting during the Democratic National Convention of last year. The court refuses to allow Seal to choose a lawyer. as Seal repeatedly stands up during the show trial insisting that he is being denied his constitutional right to counsel. The judge orders him bound